Hello everyone, this is Press here, and because I know a lot of you have been asking, today I'm going to be discussing what the MMR system is, how it works, and how it affects both Arena playlists and the Warzone playlists. To begin with, what exactly is the MMR system? MMR stands for Matchmaking Ranking. This MMR is basically 343's matchmaking formulaic system that tries to evenly balance out matches on all playlists, including social ones. To quote 343's lead engagement designer, Josh Menke, "In case you don't know, we still have a skill rating or MMR we use when matchmaking in social and even Warzone. We just aren't as strict on how tight the matches need to be. We are still really strict in team balancing though, so in theory you should win about as often as you lose." Basically, every playlist in the game, both ranked and social, including Warzone, have this system to some extent. This system wants to balance out matches so that most players win 50% of their games. So in theory, this MMR system is most likely aiming to be a normally distributed bell curve where most of the population is going to sit around a 50% win rate. Now obviously this is just theoretical and cannot be calculated without numbers, but it can't be too far off track. So what's the difference between this system and the CSR or competitive skill ranking system on the ranked playlist? Well, as stated by Menke, CSR has no influence on matchmaking at all. The matches you get throughout the season are exactly the same as they are at the end, unless you have changed as a player, thus moving your MMR. Even though you sometimes see a different range of CSRs in your match, the actual skills are really close. And then another quote from Menke, "CSR should be the most accurate measure of what you deserve to show as your rank. MMR should be the most accurate measure of where we should matchmake you right now. Those aren't always the same and don't always have the same rules of fairness that govern them." Okay, so basically CSR is your visual ranking that you see in ranked playlists, but it does not have any impact on matchmaking at all, as stated by Menke. The MMR still does the matchmaking. Next, let's take a look at one more quote from an update by Menke back during February 28, 2017. Now this is where stuff is going to get a bit more complex and even downright scary, but let's go right ahead. "Why not show MMR all the time instead? The main reason we don't splash MMR all over is we reserve the right to use whatever information we can to update your MMR. This can include information that could potentially be unfair to use to update your CSR. What could he mean by that? We don't do a lot of this right now, but I could see a world where the MMR can be affected by, example, how you played in a completely different playlist. In that case, we update your MMR to a more accurate reflection of your current skill, but it would be unfair to D-rank you magically outside of you playing on that playlist. Showing in an MMR that is this volatile would be confusing." Whoa. Basically, if you didn't get the gist of this, Menke explains to us how the MMR can be used with whatever information they want. Information that can automatically update your CSR, or in other words, update your ranks on other playlists. Your MMR on one playlist could affect the MMR on another playlist. For example, if you were an Arena HCS champion with a high MMR, it could automatically update your rank in MMR on the SWAT playlist without even playing it. Now Menke clearly states that they do not do a lot of this right now, but it's still weird to think about. It could be seen as a good idea in some aspects, but in others it's downright unfair and can hinder people's experiences. Especially if they're looking for pure social experiences or, they're only good at one playlist and not the other. Before I move on, Josh Menke does state that the MMR system doesn't affect social playlists as much as it does on ranked playlists, and I even recently tweeted Menke about the blocking and MMR systems on the Big Team Battle playlist. Menke responded saying that there is an MMR system on the Big Team Battle playlist, but after 40 seconds of searching, it shuts off, allowing teams to match more players. This is how it works on all playlists to some degree. The parameters widen to find a match if it's struggling with the current MMR at the time. There also was an interesting update done yesterday by Menke, explaining in great detail on the changes they made to certain playlists such as FFA and SWAT in order to allow everyone, including the top players, to eventually find a game even if the MMR difference is very large. This was due to the lower population numbers at the top level. Alright, so how does this MMR system actually affect player experiences? Well, for both ranked and unranked playlists, including Warzone, it is going to try and match you against evenly skilled teams and opponents with similar MMRs. For the most part, this system works just fine on ranked playlists and only widens after a certain search time, and that's where the large gaps in MMR and CSR can be visually found. Now, the system usually works the same way with social playlists, but it can hinder player experiences who seek a completely non-ranked experience. Warzone, on the other hand, is a whole different and much scarier animal that I will now be covering. Currently, Warzone is limited to 6-man fire teams in a 12v12 playlist. Although we don't know the exact factors that affect the MMR in this playlist, win percentage, Beating high MMR players and solid kill and assist stats are probably the biggest factors, but keep in mind that it could potentially take a little bit of MMR influence from other playlists in Arena, but I highly doubt that. What makes Warzone different than any other playlist in the game is that it is not possible to search with the full team. You always will have 6 randomly matched players put onto your team that you obviously cannot control. This can become very problematic, unbalanced, and even downright unenjoyable for teams of 6 who all have high run rates, good stats, and generally high MMRs. Basically, it is going to give the stacked team of 6 random teammates that either just got the game and are really low levels with hardly any recs and have no idea what's going on, or other players who have really low MMRs. The opposing team, on the other hand, is going to have all sorts of great combinations. The first combination is having 2 decent teams of 6 that randomly got put on the same team due to the other team's extremely high MMR. The second combination is having 1 decent team of 6 with the addition of smaller fire teams or a few decently high MMR solo players. And the last combination is the opposing team having a lot of high MMR solo searching players that will never get on your team. For example, my teammate El Flaco Fleas has the famous Ja 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 alternative account, or in other words Smurf account, and I went through his game history over the last few months, and the games he purposely matched us while solo searching, he was always on the other team. All 65 times. All 65 times he matched us, he was on the other team. Why did he never get on our team? I wonder why. Overall, I hope everyone learned something new, or I at least reinforced the idea of what the hidden MMR system is, and why it can be really frustrating for all those people who enjoy Warzone, but also like to win and have fair matches. I also will be releasing a separate video in the near future discussing what alternative accounts are, and my reasoning behind me blocking them, because I know a lot of you have been asking me what is an alternative account and why did you block them, but I'll justify my reasoning in that video. But until next time, everyone.